Does anyone remember the Super Game Boy for the SNES? It used to allow you to play Game Boy games on the TV. There were two different versions and they looked like this. It was released in June 1994 and retailed for about 50 to 60. It did have a predecessor called the Super Game Boy 2. In today's video, I'm just going to give it a go, sell it all up and show you how it worked. And here are some of the games I'm going to try in it. So the Game Boy cartridges used to go into the top there. So let me just show you around the cartridge first. They looked very similar to the game cartridges that went with the Super Nintendo. The same colour, the same shape, and even had the same pins at the bottom. So if I turn it around and show you what's on the back, there's a good way to be able to tell if you've got a counterfeit. If you look in the top right hand corner, there's usually a number printed at the top. This is the same for quite a lot of Nintendo games. Sometimes if you've got a fake copy, they won't have that small number printed on the side of the label. And then you just had supporting information on the back telling you how to use it correctly so that it didn't break. After I've played some of the Game Boy games, I will try a Game Boy Color just to see what it does. As per the instructions on the back, you have to put the cartridge in first before pulling it into the console and turning it on. A good part about the design of this is that it showed you part of the label to show you what you were playing. Just like the Game Boys, where they would show you the very top of the label. I'll set this all up now and we'll start playing. So when you'd start this for the first time, you'd get a Game Boy background come up on the screen, and then there would be a small square in the middle with the game. So what was cool about this is it would show some of the games in a small bit of colour, which you wouldn't get on the Game Boy. So you'd play these games with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System controller, so it'd feel slightly different to playing it on the Game Boy. It would give you more control. I'll show you another game. So we'll try Tetris next. So some of the original Pokemon games do come up slightly different. You do not get the Game Boy background. You'll get a designated Pokemon background for that particular game, which I'll show you in a minute. So all the games play exactly the same as if it was on the Game Boy. All the sounds are the same, all the pictures are the same. The only thing that's slightly different, like I said, is just a small bit of colour. Most of you must have had Tetris back in the day. I'll jump onto the next game now. So next I'll try a Game Boy Color game. I've not done this before, so I don't know what will happen. So it looks like it's picked up that it's a Game Boy Color cartridge and it can't play it. I can't get past this screen. But what's so cool is that it gives you this image. So this image may come up if I put it into a Game Boy as well. I don't know. I'll probably test that later on and just see if this same image comes up on a Game Boy. So I'll show you what I meant earlier about the background being slightly different. We've got Pokemon Pinball. Okay, so the Game Boy logo comes up first, and then it will fade to a different background, unlike all the other games. There you go, you've got a Pokemon Pinball border around the screen. And this is the same for Pokemon Blue, Red, Yellow. There may be some others, but these are the ones I know that there's definitely a different background for. So this was one of my favourite Game Boy games back in the day. So I think all the original Pokemon games did a good effort on the Game Boy, with Pokemon Blue, Red and Yellow and Pokemon Pinball, and I know that there was another one, a Pokemon trading card game, but I've never played that, so I don't know if that's any good. But with those four, I can say definitely they did really good. Anyway guys, any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm just going to carry on playing for a bit. Enjoy.